Good evening, folks. Hope you all are having a pleasant Saturday. Hope everything is going well. My name is Tim Spence, Trusted Troublemaker. Be your host this evening, and we will be discussing the concept of reality. Now, I've been talking about reality pretty much this whole week because we all live in it, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. And there are certain factors that affect reality. And everyone's different. Everyone's reality and how they perceive things is different. And so that's why I'm going to address three main components I think often cause rift between themselves and reality. The first of which is reality versus expectations. We all have things that we want, things that we'd like to do, things that we hope for. And the reality about our expectations is that for some things that we desire, they're not going to happen. Or at least not in the way that you might picture in your mind. Like it might happen, like you might get that like dream job or house or whatever, and it's just like you have it, but it's not the way that you imagined it would be in your mind. I mean, it's exactly what you want, but it's not like it doesn't feel the way it did when you were thinking about it, or the journey of getting to it. It doesn't feel the same way, and that's because it's real. That's the difference between a thought or a dream and what you're actually having right in front of you, because one is an idea and one's the actual thing. And that's not to say you won't be happy with it. It's going to be different. It's going to be, it's no longer an expectation. It's a reality, and I think for some of us, when it comes to our expectations, we don't take the real necessary steps to accomplish those goals, to make those expectations become what we want them to be. You might expect to have a six-figure paying job, but the reality is you have to do certain things to make that happen. Because there are certain things that are quite possible. We just aren't real with ourselves about what it is we need to do in order to make those things happen. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with having expectations. It's good to want to aspire to have more. You just have to be honest with yourself about who you are as a person, what you're willing to do to get what you want, and are those expectations even possible? Because depending on who you are or what you deal with as an individual, certain things might not be for you. Like you might want something, but that thing might not want you back. And when that happens, you got to go in a different direction. Like you have to make different decisions, and I think that's the hard part for a lot of people, is that they cannot accept that their expectations are unreal. They can't accept that. But I mean, that's just how life is sometimes. It's just unfortunate. I mean, but that's not to say that there isn't something out there that is for you that you can't obtain, that would make you feel just as good as that thing that you expected in your mind could have. in real life, if that makes sense. Um, I think another aspect that affects our reality sometimes are, I'm not going to say hallucinations, our reality versus our our imaginations, you know, our and these aren't our expectations, like reality versus like the unreal, you know, like this, you have things that you know often play tricks with your mind, or things that you don't know what's really going on, or what's happening, and it's hard to distinguish between, is this really happening, or it isn't. You know, you're wondering, like certain people's lives go a certain way. Like I'm one of those people that, getting older, I realize that anything and everything can happen at any moment. Like I was joking with my buddy one time. It's like one day you go outside and there's a jellyfish on your front doorstep. And you're like, I'm not anywhere close to an ocean. How did this jellyfish get here? And he talks, because of course the jellyfish talks. Like that might not happen, but it could. Who knows? I mean, people's lives are different like that. Everybody has certain things that make their life unique, and just, because in general, most things happen to most people. Like life just kind of has a way of, like, we're all equal in certain things that happen to us. But there are some things that are just unique to you as an individual. Like some people I've met, they always seem to run into people who like dogs. Like that's not anything crazy, but that's specific to them. Like they don't know anyone else that happens to. Like I'm one of those type of people where I can meet someone and within 10 seconds of us talking, this individual will tell me something very personal about themselves. Now, I didn't tell them anything. I've even had moments in my life where I didn't say a word to this individual, someone I just met. I didn't say a word. I just listened to what they had to say. And within the monologue, because it wasn't a conversation, within their monologue, they told me some things I didn't know you told the person that you first met. I mean, I'm glad that they felt comfortable enough with me to share that information. But it was surprising, and that happens for me a lot. That's something that occurs in my life quite often, and that's my specific reality. That's a part of my reality, is that people, just random strangers, just open up to me. And I think that can kind of mess with our realities, because we think you have two types of thinking in that sense. Is that you have people who think that if it's happening to them, it must be happening to everybody. And then you have people who think certain things only happen to them. But it works both ways. Like you have things that, like I just said, are unique to you, and then you have things that everybody goes through. But I think it's important that you can tell the difference. If you're talking to several people throughout the day, and they're all telling you that this, that, the other thing is happening, you're like, huh, that never happens to me. That's a part of who you are as an individual. That's your reality. That's your specific situation. And using that knowledge, that doesn't make you a freak. That doesn't make you weird or strange. That just makes you who you are. And so with that knowledge, you can do things to cater to yourself. You can start to rework your life in a certain way where it fits the type of situations you find yourself in, especially if it's not anything like bad or detrimental to your health or the people around you. It's just something that it's a unique circumstance for you. So I would say, instead of being afraid of that, just work it to your ability. You for me, in that sense, being so easily spoken to by strangers, is I can prepare myself that if someone shares some type of information that maybe I can offer some type of help or comfort to that person. Instead of like, why is this person talking to me? I mean, to me, I see that as a gift. I've been given the gift to just be able to talk to anybody, to be able to be the type of person that people just naturally, they're compelled to just share things with. And I trained myself to become a good listener, to hear what people are saying and to understand why it is they feel the way that they do, and maybe I could say something to them that helps them throughout their journey in life. And that's how I have catered to my specific reality. And I think we can all benefit from that. And also, my final point, I think when it comes to dealing with reality, is our personal feelings about things. This kind of goes back to expectations, but I'm not going to say that, like, the reality of life is that life is unfair. I'm not going to say that. I mean, life is life. Fairness in any shape or form of the word is, that's a relative thing. I think the harshest part of reality is the fact that it's real. That you're seeing things happening in front of you, or you're hearing about things, and these are things, this isn't your imagination. These aren't things that you're making up. This is really happening. That's why I think, that's what you think of, like, the word ridiculous. You use that as a word to describe certain things, is because certain things you might see, and this is not something that happens normally in real life. It's just, you don't normally have a marching band full of walruses, like, banging trumpets, like, banging cymbals together like that. That doesn't normally occur. But on the off chance that you see something like that, now wow, this is reality. Like, this is life as I now see it. And I think we have to train our minds to be prepared for that. I think this year alone, we've seen a lot of things happen, and a lot of things have changed in a way where you could ask a lot of people, they say they never thought they would see life this way. Imagine that people say they never thought, or they never would imagine in real life, that sports would be played with no fans. Like, that's shocking for some people. But it's happening. You can see it every time you watch a game now. That's what it is. And I think you can condition yourself by that. Like I said, I'm a reality junkie. Like, being in tune with what's happening or what's going on. And I mean, it works to its disadvantage, because sometimes, you go looking for something, you're typically going to get what you're looking for. And for me, it's usually 99.9% exactly what I thought it was. And I'm like, well, man, I should have just left this alone in the first place. I knew what I was getting myself into, but I just couldn't stop. I had to see, and now I know. And am I any better because of it? Probably not. I'm probably a little bit more traumatized as I was going into this situation. But we can't be afraid of that. We can't shy away from that, those factors. We can't like live in a fantasy land. We can't. I mean, it's nice. Like I said, you don't want to be so into and you become a grouch and you become like this person. You don't want to become a pessimist. But like I said, you don't want to be too far in any direction. If you feel like everything is going to be good all the time, I mean, I wouldn't suggest that, and I wouldn't suggest feeling like everything's going to be bad all the time. It's going to be what it is. But whatever it is, it's going to be real. And I think we all have to try our best to prepare ourselves for every and any situation that can come our way. And I mean, that's a lot can happen depending on the type of life that you have. I know, like I said, for me, I know anything can happen. I've seen it, anything and everything happen in front of my very eyes. You wouldn't even imagine. But I'm not afraid of those things. I don't shy away from that because it's like I look at it as like a learning experience. You know, there's a reason that this is happening. There's a reason that I'm seeing this happen in real life right now. And what I do with that, you know, that's I have a responsibility to do something with what I just saw, what I just witnessed, what I just found out. Like I have to do something with that. You know, and I try to do the same for other people where it's like, you know, this is it is what it is. And you know, and you can have your own personal beliefs, you can have the way that you look at things, but there are just certain things that you can't escape. There are certain avenues of life that are just going to be there no matter how you feel about them, no matter what you want, no matter what you think or how you may want things to work out. They're just going to be that way. And I think it's just easier to try and accept that or try to learn to accept that than to say, no, I just don't want to deal with it. I just, you know, because you can't, I mean, what are you going to do, leave? Like, I mean, you can't, like, and like I said in my previous videos, you know, if you want anything to be a certain way, you have to take the initiative to change it or to try and work it out so that it's working for you. Because the reality is your life. The decisions that you make are your decisions. What you want are your expectations. You know, fantasy is fantasy and reality is reality. And you live in the real world. Yes, there might be some fantastic things that may take place, but that doesn't take away from the fact that like you feel real pain, you feel real emotions, your bills are real. You know, you can tell your debt collectors and say, "Hey, I don't believe in this car note I got to pay," and it's like, "Well, we don't believe you should have that car anymore." It's like, well, but how? But what about how I feel? You know, what about these $500 you owe us? That's all that matters. So like you can't escape it. You can only train yourself for it. You can only prepare yourself for it. You can only work your mind around these things, you know, and it's not going to be an overnight thing. It's going to take time. It's going to take exposing yourself to certain things. I'm not saying you watch like, you know, a bunch of violent videos or anything like that, but you know, you always want to know what's going on. You want to know what's happening around you because you're a part of it. Even if you're not an active participant, you're still involved in this life that we're all living. And I think by accepting the reality of life and in tuning yourself with that, when those little moments come about where you can live in that imagination land, you can have a Disney like life, you appreciate it more because it's like you get a break from all the things that you have to deal with and accept. Like, this is real life happening in front of me. You get it. You get to walk away from that just for a little moment. I mean, you can't stay there. As much as nice as it is, you can't stay there. But I think by tuning yourself in just a little bit more, you'll appreciate those relaxing moments where you can just let your mind drift. And for me too, as someone who likes to write and come up with ideas, like it allows me to be more engaged in that. It allows me to tap into more of my imagination and my thoughts, my all the little keyholes in my mind. It allows me to open those doors a little bit wider because I want to detach myself from the reality that I have to accept on a daily basis, and I just completely ingrain myself into wherever my mind wants to go. But that's what works for me, and I hope that you all are able to find what works for you. That's all for me tonight. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. Get as much rest as you can for that Monday morning gridlock. I'm sure you're all looking forward to that. If you like this video, subscribe, hit the like button. My IG is Trusted Troublemaker. My Snapchat is Trust for Trouble. I am going to try and start doing videos almost every day. Give that a try. Maybe next week, every other day, just to keep this up. I'm trying to make this a big deal. And in order to do that, I need you guys' help. And I just want you guys to know that despite the realities of life, despite how intense and overwhelming things may feel, you are not alone. And the love that I have for all of you, even those of you I haven't met yet, that is very real. And it's not going anywhere. You guys be safe, be good. And as always, trust me to trouble you.